Awesome. Wow. Wow. Hello. Hello. Wow. Wow. Hello. Wow. I'm back. I was here 5 years ago. Wow. Okay, cool. So.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for that warm reception to David. So David just wants to kick off by talking about 5-10 minutes, and then we'll open up to question and answer session. So David, when you're ready.
Wow. The last time I was here, the first question was, is Kit gay? So I won't go back there. Kit is the car from Knight Rider. But I will start with, can I stand up?
Yeah, please do.
But I will start with something like, the theme of Knight Rider is one man can make a difference, right? So we try to make Knight Rider like the Knights, and we all save lives. We only had one person die on Knight Rider, and I made sure that we never had that happen again. Same thing on Baywatch. You never really saw anybody drown on camera because it was too heavy. But one man can make a difference is the theme. The reason that I start with that is because I'm here because of you. You guys made a difference in my life. Maybe tonight I can make a little difference in your life. Maybe not, but you can make a difference in anyone's life. It's the most important thing that I've learned. You have to make a difference in your own life. You got to be honest with yourself. A few years ago, I read a stupid little book that you guys have probably already read. I don't know how old it is now, but just 4 little things. It's called The 4 Agreements. You know that book? The 4 Agreements. Don't assume anything. Don't take anything personally, which is really a good one. If a person has a problem with you, it's their problem, not yours. Always do your best and be impeccable with your word. If you can follow those 4 agreements in life, it'll help you out. And also, I'm sure you know this, but life is not fair. It's just not fair. And I told my kids when they went into show business, I said, how well do you deal with rejection? How well can you get through someone saying no to you 999 times out of 1,000? And it's really what showbiz is about. I mean, I'm dealing with something right now that is really personal to me. And it has to do with a film, and it has to do with me in the film. And those feelings still come up, And I think that's one of the reasons that I've been successful as an actor is because I can get in touch with my feelings. I'm really emotional. I cry at game shows. A new car! She won a new car. That's so sweet. I mean, even getting hooked on these stupid cooking shows over here. What are they called? The Great American Bake Hoff or something like that? Bake Hoff? That's what I should do. I should have a Bake Hoff. I'm doing that tomorrow. Bake Hoff. Yeah. You did a big contest. Put it on Channel 5. They'll put anything on Channel 5. They wanted me to be on Big Brother, and they offered me a lot of money, and I was on the phone, and my daughter said, "Dad, hang up, hang up." I said, "They're really offering a lot of money. I can go on Big Brother and fake it for this kind of money." She goes, "Hang up, hang up." I said, "Why?" "Mom's going to be on the show." They actually talked my ex-wife into being on the show and didn't tell me. So obviously I didn't do that. But one man can make a difference. Yeah, no, I hung up that show and ran away, It's not called All of My, it's about, what's his name? Robin Williams had a really funny joke. It's not called Alimony, it's called All the Money. Boy, was he right. Anyway, we're in town doing a show called Last Night a DJ Saved My Life, which is kind of like We Will Rock You or Rock of Ages or Mamma Mia. It's just a big sing-along show that seems to work. We're trying to build a franchise. We've been on the road with this thing for about 4 or 5 months, and it's been just crazy. We have been everywhere. We started in in Blackpool. I spent 3 weeks in Blackpool and went totally insane. The people there are they have so many tattoos and so many weird colored hair. The one lady, I said, "What do you do for Halloween? Not dress up?" And she goes, "That's not really very funny. That's not really sweet." I said, "You have blue hair. You have a nose ring. You have tattoos everywhere." There are little kids walking around with tattoos. And the water there, does anybody ever go swimming in Blackpool? I mean, the water is seriously dangerous, you know. I wouldn't rescue anybody. I'd let them go. Let them go. Oh, it's true. And people have a 7-year lifespan, a shorter 7-year lifespan in Blackpool than all of the UK. So if you go to Blackpool, you know you're not going to make it to 87. You'll die at 80, you know. Anyway, I'm extremely happy that my career has gone on so long. And I think that part of it is I'm having fun. You know, I was watching A Night at the Museum last night waiting for a football game to come on. And Amy Adams was in it. I love Amy Adams. And she played Amelia Earhart. And Ben Stiller said something to her. And she goes, "You know why I do it? I do it for fun." And I went, yeah. We always forget to have fun. We take everything so damn seriously that we don't have fun. And if you don't have fun, you shouldn't be doing it, you know? If you can play guitar when you're a little kid, I tell the kids, play guitar. If you can dance, follow the instincts that God gave you, you know, and you'll be okay. But you gotta have fun. And I tell my cast every night, what are we having? Fun! And they'll all come in because we're all out the night before, hungover and tired and everything. And I said, hey, we're gonna have fun. And we owe it to the audience out there to have fun on stage. And come and see the show. If you want, talk to me. I can maybe arrange tickets because I own the show. And, and we chose Oxford to film it. Because after that question, is Kit gay? I said, we got to film it in Oxford because the kids are really cheeky there. And they're smart. I have this great little thing on social media. We did a big thing for social media with Google, and they came back and they told me where I get the most fan mail and where I get the most hits and what's my biggest audience. And my biggest audience, honest to God, is so cool. It's 18 to 35-year-old kids. And the one thing they have in common is they make money. Isn't that cool? Yeah. So so every time, it's almost like I follow the bootleggers, you know? If you go on Google, if you go on Twitter, you know you're gonna get some sort of whacked out person saying something, but if it's really good, I just take it, you know? Especially Hoffisms, you know? We've stolen a lot of Hoffisms. I didn't invent the Hoff was invented for me. But I'm honored and happy to be back. I can't believe that I've actually been asked to speak here. Knight Rider was an unbelievable experience for me. I knew when I got it, the script was literally glowing in my hands because I knew this was a big break for me. I had no idea that Baywatch would last. It was canceled by the network. And we found a way, because of my success in Europe and because of the UK, to raise enough money to buy it from the network and put it on. And we lasted 220 episodes and sold the whole franchise for $500 million. And this was a show that was canceled, but we believed in it. And I still can't believe, now the film's come around, and there's gonna be something else coming around that I'm involved in. And it just keeps on going, all because it was there, you know. So I think if I write a book, I wrote a couple of books, but they were kind of like about my life story, and I kind of sugar-coated it because I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But I want to write a book now. I have a keen sense of recognizing the obvious, because it's so obvious to me. It's so obvious to me how we should act, and we just don't do it. We're just completely stupid, you know. I mean, the way we fight. And the way we don't get along, it just drives me nuts. And what even drives me more nuts than anything, somebody said, what do you hate most? And I said, complacency. We become so complacent in this world that we see people on television, right? Actually being executed. And we change the channel after it's over and let it go. And then a lion named Cecil gets killed, and it freaks out. Everyone freaks out because it's a cute little lion named Cecil. But we forgot about the guy that got killed in Syria, who was a cab driver, who was a real human being, you know? So it amazes me that that we're not smarter. And I think it's important that you take whatever you study here in Oxford, you take the moral commitment to being a good person with you. I'm a good guy. I'm a good guy because my dad was a good guy, you know? My dad was buried with his watch. And I said, Dad, why do you want to be buried with your watch? He said, so I'll know what time it is. He was making jokes even up to the last day, you know? And it's something to learn from that. He's the reason that I think I'm still working, because Knight Rider was canceled. I couldn't get a job. I got casting breakdowns that said, David Hasselhoff type. I said, I look just like him. And they said, no, we don't want you. We want someone like you. I couldn't get a job after Knight Rider. So I found out that I had a hit record in Austria. And the girl that came to visit me, she was having lunch with me. I said, I don't want to have lunch with her. I'm going through my Ernest Hemingway period. You know, I'm out of work. My first wife just left me. My show's been canceled. I can't drink all day. I can't play tennis all day. You know, okay, I'll have lunch with her. And she said, you know your song, Night Rocker? I am the night rocker. I'm going to rock you all night long. I said, yeah, that cornball song? She goes, it's #1 in my country. I said, where's your country? And she said, Austria. I said, great. Where's Austria? So we went and we looked on the world. It was about the size of Rhode Island. And I said, isn't that where they filmed The Sound of Music? And she said, yeah. And so suddenly I was on tour in Austria with 2 Knight Rider cars that my dad bought. My dad did the merchandising. I did all the songs from the album. And it turned into 40 gold and platinum albums. And the #1 song in 1989 was Looking for Freedom. And the Berlin Wall happened to come down when my song was #1. So I was actually, if you watch Bridge Too Far, it's pretty, Bridge of Spies, I think it's called? Bridge of Spies. It's about the Cold War. And that really was pretty heavy because I was able to go back and forth because if you were an American, but they knew who I was over there and they were singing my song, Looking for Freedom. And then the wall came down and I just was asked, if you check it out, really good documentary that they did with me, David Hasselhoff versus the Berlin Wall. And it was about all the people who escaped and how they escaped and what life was like. And it's a National Geographic, but check it out. I think you'd like that. But anyway, I'm here to take questions. I'm honored. I'm going to be in town for a week because we chose Oxford to record the show. If the show does well, here and the next couple places, and then we sell it, it's going to become a huge franchise. If it doesn't, we tried like hell. And then so far the audiences are dancing in their seats. And seriously, if you guys do want tickets, please talk to us because I'm sure there will be something in the back. But we'll try and move you down front. And you'll like the show. If there's anybody here who, well, you might remember the 80s. This is my producer, by the way. Did you guys watch Hoff the Record? Yeah. Did you guys watch it? Did you like it? Yeah, he created it right here. Yeah, he does an Idiot Abroad with Ricky Gervais. This is Krish Manjimdo. How do you say it? Majimda. Krish Majimda. It's like worse than Hasselhoff. But we got together and now we've been picked up in America. We're going to be on television in America. We just finished our 2nd season of Hoff the Record. It's on the Dave channel. I really encourage you to watch it. The way we do it is we improv. We get all the actors out. We'll say, okay, you're walking into the room. There's a guy in your room and he's your son. Okay, action. And then we improv and we film it and we take all the nuggets. We find a few nuggets like gold, really funny stuff, and then we find a lot of stuff that's not good at all. And then we write it down and then we put it in the show. So it really is an improv show that is scripted at the end. And I think it's a really important thing to do if you guys are actors. You gotta have rehearsal. You gotta have rehearsal. You have to develop a relationship with the other character before you get in front of the camera, or it doesn't work. And it's magic. It's magic with it. I'm so proud of the show, and the show has gotten unbelievable reviews. Unfortunately, we're on the Dave channel, and I think 5 people watch the Dave channel. And what?
You can get it. It's on iTunes, so you can download it, or
Okay.
or DVD on. You can get it on Amazon.
Yeah. So you can download it on iTunes.
Yeah.
Well, what do you go to? Is it UK Play or?
No, this is iTunes or.
Yeah. But really, watch this show. It's really, really. Did you guys like the first episode? Yeah. Cool. It gets better. All right. So that's it for me, and I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, no questions. Oh, you can ask me any questions, and if I don't like the question, I flash you this. And if you ask me something really bad, I'll flash you this, but you don't want to see that. Yeah. It's a picture of Krish. All right. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much for that David. So as you just said, you're in Oxford this week as part of the tour for last night's DJ Saved My Life. In a previous interview leading up to the show, you've said that your entire life has been a panto. What leads you to say that?
Well, it turns out right now that I think I'm one of the highest, if not the highest draw or the highest paid panto guy. At least the people who are producing it tell me that. And I'm American, and they always go, don't you find panto really hard? I said, no, my whole life is a panto, because everywhere I go, it's Hoff, Hoff, Hoff. You know, it's like people stopping me on the streets everywhere, cars. I mean, when this Hoff thing took off, when I was 50, I was jogging in Sydney Harbor, and the cars were stopping. It's the Hoff! And they're all getting out. It was like the Night of the Living Dead. And I didn't know what the fuck Hoff was. I was going, Hoff, Hoff, what's that? What is that? You know? And then I found out later that they had a quote-unquote epidemic of emails going back and forth with secretaries doing Hoffisms, like, you know, some like it Hoff, Desperate Hoff Wives, Hoff to See the Wizard, to Hoffinity and Beyond, you know. They go on forever. And so I went on television and showed my little Don't Hassle the Hoff t-shirt, and it became this gigantic brand. And the Hoff now is making more money than David Hasselhoff. In fact, David Hasselhoff can't get a lot of work, but the Hoff works all the time. I'm pissed Hoff.
Oh, this chamber's heard many puns before. That ranks up there. How much of your success can you say is down to your name?
Sorry?
How much of your success can you say is down to your name, or is it just the luck of the draw?
You know, Hasselhoff, they wanted me to change my name to Michael Hasselhoff or Eric Hasselhoff, and I took so much ribbing for it in high school that I said, no, I'm going to keep this name and I'm going to make it famous. And one day in 1993, for Christmas, I handed my dad a book. And the book was the Guinness Book of World Records. It said David Hasselhoff is the most watched TV star on the planet. So I said, well, Dad, I think Hasselhoff now is known all over the world. So we decided to stay with it. And I was really proud of it because of my dad. You know, it's kind of a weird name, but now it's made me lots of money. I mean, we just did a whole campaign where I said, I want to take the hassles out of my life and change my name. And it went worldwide. I had cab drivers asking me, are you just the Hoff now? Yeah, I said, yeah, no hassle. You know? So I'm thinking about changing my name. So it's David Hoff now. But I'm thinking about changing it to just the Hoff. So you can call me Mr. Hoff, or you could call me the. Yeah, the. I think that'd be funny. Hello, the.
Well, let's try it. But so what is the difference between the Hoff and David?
The Hoff is a character that kind of is over is an over exaggeration of David Hasselhoff. In our show, Hoff the Record, it really is the Hoff. You know, he gets over emotional and stuff. He really thinks he brought down the Berlin Wall. He really thinks he can save the world. And the Hoff is just a good-natured, optimistic guy who's always getting in trouble, but he always comes out okay. And it's the same with our show. We made sure that in Hoff the Record, that every character was dysfunctional, but they had a heart, that you loved them. The secret to a television show to make it work is to try and get a wide audience, like 8 to 88. Baywatch, it was 8 to 88. Knight Rider was the same way. And also, I would put on every script heart, humor, and action. You gotta have heart, you gotta have a story. It's gotta be funny, at least. And you gotta have good action, so.
You spoke just then about how you've remained, in the spotlight, you've remained successful for so many years, and perhaps most recently with True Survivor last year. But when
have you seen True Survivor?
Yeah, and that's what I'm just about to ask about. So
oh, cool.
You've done many crazy things, but at the end of the video, you ride off on a dinosaur after a brief cameo from Adolf Hitler to the sound of an 80s ballad.
A gay Adolf Hitler.
Your words, not mine. But so what won't you do? What will you say no to?
You know, I said yes to that because my assistant, who's here tonight, he's my nephew, said, here's Kung Fury, and he showed me 10 seconds on my iPhone. And I said, I'm in. And that is a story that I'd love to tell. You should really have David Sandberg come here and speak. He lives in Switzerland. He's in a tiny little villa. He does an animation thing about the 80s, about going back in time to fight a very gay Hitler. And from the Lonely Planet, right? Lonely Planet? Lonely Island. The guys from Lonely Island got involved. Anyway, he made this stupid little short, and he went on Kickstarter, and he was hoping to raise $40,000. He raised $625,000. So he decided to finish the movie. Now, he finished the movie. It won Best Short of the Year. I just got up from the Swedish Oscars. I just sang True Survivor. I sang the theme song, which got 21 million hits or views. And now David has gone from, hi, I'm David Sandberg. I just had lunch with Steven Spielberg. He came over to my house and said that. And Steven Spielberg's now involved. They're going to make a $40 to $80 million epic of his animation because he had the technology to create something. We all have so much technology. They have contests on your telephone that can actually turn you into a mega director. You know, and the film festivals, you know, like Sundance, are entertaining ideas of just, you know, a 60-second movie, or even less, a 30-second movie. And they're awesome, what comes out, you know. I decided to take the song True Survivor. I love this song, and it's got 20 million hits, and nobody wants to release it. So I bought it, and I want to take it around the world, and I'm having a contest now where you can actually, if you're a songwriter, write a song. So write a song like the 80s, because I want to do an 80s album in 2016. Make it a little cheesy, make it a little fun, but make it cool, like True Survivor. And I'm getting all these incredible songs sent in to me. I've already got 3 smash monster hits that are written by people that would never ever have a chance to get it out there. But we have this opportunity now through Twitter and through Facebook and through Instagram, and you know, to get any material out there, or to get any message out there, or any charity. We do a lot of work with people on Twitter because they will reach out to us, and we do not only helping their cause, we do things like actually meet the kid, you know, who's got cystic fibrosis, because it's important to do that, you know, and it keeps me humble and makes me realize how great my life is, you know. And I do that. I'll try to find, if I'm in a bad mood and I'm not getting what I want, or I go on Twitter and I try to find somebody who's in a worse shape than me, and I contact them. And I say, hey, and they flip out. They flip out, and I flip out, because it's taking me out of my head and making sure. I had a leg injury, right? I was really upset about it. I'm mad at everybody, you know. And then I find somebody who's got, you know, terminal, you know, and it's a little different. And you talk to that person, they put you right in your headspace of how blessed we are. I think it's important. It's important to realize that.
You sound like the anti-Piers Morgan. He just finds the people he hates the most and contacts them on Twitter. But that's refreshing to hear. But yeah, so just going back to the original question, though, you said that the idea of true survival was put in front of you, and you said, "I love it. Let's do it." Have you ever had something in front of you that's been, no, that's too crazy. That's even the Hoff won't do that.
Have we? I think we've said, we very rarely say no because we always try to turn lemons into lemonade, even if it's like if it's like I'm doing the rugby sevens tournament. That came because my girlfriend is Welsh and I started hanging out at the rugby matches and really loved it. And got to meet some of the players and went down on the pitch. And now I'm hosting the rugby's tournament in Hong Kong. Why am I doing that? I'm doing that because it gets me to Hong Kong, it gets me out in front of 40,000 people and millions around the world, and there'll be a lot of brands there, and so maybe I can, you know, kind of have the Hoff thing grow. So, what was the original question?
I asked if there was something you'd never do.
Oh yeah. So basically I don't know.
I'm learning the answer is no.
We only do stuff that we think is funny and is self-deprecating. I love that. The Hoff the Record is an amazing show because I get a chance to do stuff that's, everything in that show has happened to me. And sometimes we blow it up out of proportion. And sometimes I say, the reality was, what really happened to me was much crazier than we put on the film, and we don't go there because you just can't film it. But we very rarely say no. If it's stupid and there's, you know, no money, you know, we work for money, but we also, a guy sent me a sketch of me, and his name was Simon, and he was fired from Marvel. And I love Marvel. I was Nick Fury, and I met Stan Lee, and I was supposed to be in the movies, and they went with Samuel Jackson, right? And so he sent me a sketch of Retro Man, and I said, hey man, I want to do a Hoff, Heroes of Fearless Freedom. And this guy lives in Wales, and he is an unbelievable artist. He sent me back a whole thing, and so a lot of times we work for nothing, even with this kid. We didn't make any money on that. I said, I want to be involved in this. I was just doing the kid a favor. And he said, I can't believe I'm directing the Knight Rider. And I got into the room. The guy who wrote the song was a heavyweight writer in Sweden who wrote a ton of hits, you know? And so for me, it was great. I got a great song, a great pop song. It was produced cool. And it's opened up my music career in a big way. So we just look for opportunity, and we very rarely say no. If it's stupid and there's no money involved, we still say yes.
And I appreciate you're asked this all the time these days, but are those the same methods you use to judge whether you'll get back involved with the Baywatch film?
Yeah, right now I'm in negotiations with Paramount to find out if I'm going to be in it. I have read the script, and I have read my part, and it's really kind of the only thing I can tell you right now is I'm in negotiations with Paramount, and we'll see what happens.
Seems relatively promising.
Pardon me?
Seems relatively promising.
The script is relatively promising, yeah. No, it really is. I expected to hate it, and I didn't. And I hated that I didn't hate it. Because I was going to, I'm not going to do this. I actually liked it. And I think I like the people who are in it. I know them. I like everything about it. And there's a good chance that if it works out, then I'll be in it. But if it doesn't, you'll be the first to know. I'll call you. This
is the final question for me before opening it out to the audience. Just on that, if you do end up in the Baywatch film in this hypothetical scenario, who's going to be the real hard man, you or Dwayne Johnson?
Be the real what?
Hard man. Originally, you were the hard man in the Baywatch series. You were the...
Well, God, Dwayne Johnson's like a man and a half. He's huge. He's absolutely the sweetest, nicest guy ever. You should have him here. But he's just...
if you want to put us in touch.
Yeah, I can get in touch for sure. I'm sure I'll be talking to him pretty soon because of Baywatch. But he's... no contest. If it was a physical match, he'd kill all of us. He would, and he'd laugh about it, Yeah, he really is a man and a half. He's huge.
He is indeed.
Hulk Hogan's pretty cool, though. Hulk could give him a run.
Yeah.
I get Hulk over here. Have you had Hulk over here?
No, not while he's having his issues. But we'll open up to the floor now. So if you have a question, please raise your hand high in the air.
High in the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll just go right in the front here with Melly.
This lady.
So I was just wondering if you could talk a little bit more about like the moment that everything changed for you. So you said that like you got the 20 million hits and just everyone just knew you. And I was just wondering how was that for you? Because obviously one moment, like, people know you, whatever, but then suddenly everyone knows you and you just have so much newfound power and like things you can do for the world that you just didn't have before, and people who need you and people who you can actually help now. And how do you choose not to help out the kids in Africa versus some other bigger cause? Because you do have the money, you do have the influence, you do have the power, and I was just wondering how you were able to really deal with all of that without feeling really guilty about yourself and just I don't know, like in the way that like you just knew how, like you obviously got through it. I think it's amazing that you did.
Thank you. There was a question in there. Thank you.
Sorry.
Do you want to...
Yeah, God. It's there are days that I can't even go out. I'll usually stay at the Park Plaza in London, and because I'm so recognized, I'll walk outside and everybody will just turn with their cameras, and I'll walk back in because I can't handle it. And there's 99% of the time I walk out and I accept that responsibility. And if I'm busy and if I've got to do something, and I have a really cool technique that works great. I act really angry. So if you see me having a fight with my girlfriend walking down the street in London, like on Oxford Street, we're not really having a fight. We're just making sure that people don't stop us, because they're afraid to come and Hoff, 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 and they go, whoa, Jesus, he's fucked up. So they stay away from me. Sorry, I'm not supposed to cuss. But anyway, the way that I deal with it is I deal with life on an individual basis. And I've been involved in many charities. I've been involved in Africa. I've been involved mostly on a personal level, because I've raised money at times, sometimes $250,000, and found out that $25,000 went to the charity and $225,000 went to the people who were organizing that charity. Bill Gates is probably, this must be so hard to be him, because he has a woman giving his money away, and it's so hard to figure out where to give the money to see where it really goes. So I make sure that if I raise money, I raised $295,000 on The Apprentice in Australia, and I took that check down to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, the Starlight Foundation, and I gave it to them personally, and I made sure that they're out of that, they had 40 wishes. I made sure that each check went to each individual person and talked to them about that. Or if there's a child, like I was talking recently, that just happened to me, I go and see him. I don't just send in money or say, hey man, I go in and see him, because I know that what he's done for me, but I also know that his parents are the ones that are going to live on. And they're the ones that have to carry it for the rest of their lives. And if they see that, hey, maybe the Hoff actually showed up, how cool is that? So one moment in life, and they'll always remember that, you know. And for me, what was it? It was a couple hours drive. It was really fun. I mean, to actually try and find the hospital and have the police get behind me and you know, because they knew what I was doing, you know. But I embraced all that responsibility as part of the job. The time to worry is when nobody wants to take your picture. The time to worry is when nobody cares about following you on Twitter. Nobody cares. That's the time to really worry, you know. I don't have that problem. I embrace it. I live in Calabasas, and I pay off the paparazzi, and the paparazzi will come out and they'll take me to dinner, because I'll tell them, you know, they'll say, because my girlfriend hates to be photographed, so I'll go in the restaurant and I'll come out and do my little thing, and I'll get in the car, and they said, "Where's Haley?" I said, "She hates to be photographed, but she's coming out the south entrance in 10 minutes. And I said, "Dinner?" He goes, "Yeah." So the next night he buys me dinner. And I play games with them, and seriously, in a positive way, because it can get to be really nuts. And when it's nuts, you know when it's nuts. But anyway, to answer your question, I take everything on an individual basis, and I embrace that. You know, I'm famous because I earned it. You know, I'm not famous because I just went on TV to become famous, and so I'm proud of that, and I think that's why I'm still here. And hopefully, I have a new movie coming out called Killing Hasselhoff, and I have another one called Our Man Hoff. It's a comedy about a guy who can last an hour, and he seduces all the bad spies. Anyway, that's all. Sorry.
Thank you. We'll go to the next question. Yeah, we'll go to the lady in the kind of red top. Yeah, if you stand up. Thank you.
Have you noticed that I'm ADD and I'm all over the place? It's kind of fun, though.
Can you hear me?
Sing a song. Some people stand in the darkness, ready to step into the light.
I don't want to do that to you, sorry. So, Mr. Hoff, if I can call you that. Firstly, I think you're an absolute legend, so thank you very much for being here. But to get back to my question, I was wondering whether you could tell us a bit more about how you personally experienced the whole adrenaline rush you must have felt during your one and only performance, Freedom, in Berlin in '89.
The Berlin Wall happened because the phone rang and I was supposed to sing on television on the Sylvester Show, which is a big show in Germany where they invite you to sing, because my song was in the top 10, and we sold 11 million singles of Looking for Freedom. Looking for Freedom had gone across the wall, and the people in East Berlin really saw it as an anthem. They were singing it because it was a song about hope, and it meant something to them. They were prisoners over there. Get the National Geographic. It'll blow you away how wonderful this is, because I asked them, "Were you singing my song?" And they said yes. So I said, only if I can sing on the Berlin Wall. And my ex-wife said, "You think they'll agree to that?" I said, "No way." They had to get Honecker and Kohl were the two prime ministers, one of Germany and one of East Germany, Helmut Kohl and Honecker. Honecker was the bad guy and Kohl was the good guy. And they had to say yes, and they said yes. And they called me back and I said, "I fucking said yes. I'm gonna sing on the Berlin Wall." And I called up all my friends and I said, "Who wants to go?" And I got all my buddies from high school, and who had cameras, who were photographers, who were cinematographers, and I said, "You guys get over there, I'll buy the hotel." So I bought a room in the hotel, big hotel room. We all stayed there, and we went in a police van, and we went above the wall, and I had this cheesy jacket with lights on it, and it was in the show. It was in Hoff the Record. I still have that jacket. And I figured I would wear it because it was like New Year's Eve. Now I look at it and I'm going, "Why am I wearing that stupid jacket?" But I sang above 1 million people. "I've been looking for freedom," and they were all on the wall, still separated by the wall, but the wall was halfway down, and they were singing in English, and there was 1 million people there. And just last year, not this year, but last year, I went back to the same place and did 1 million people again, and sang at midnight, Looking for Freedom, with a big fireworks display. You can see it on YouTube. You can see the wall in 1989, and you can see the 2014, right? Yeah. But it was a very incredibly emotional experience. We chopped the wall down. We brought a whole bunch of them back. Now those pieces that we have are like $500 a piece. You know, half of them are in my attic. And we chopped down. Everybody was just chopping the wall down because it was a big celebration. It was an incredible moment because families that had been apart for 40 years were reunited. And you should watch the National Geographic special, or you actually see Bridge of Spies. It's really, really pretty realistic.
Thank you. Yes, we will go to the gentleman in the cream jumper on the edge.
Hey, David, it's awesome to have you here. I can't tell you how awesome it is. I actually grew up in Austria, so we got your songs whether we liked it or not. And we spent high school basically getting boozy at episodes of Baywatch. And I probably spent too much of my PhD money on the Kickstarter campaign when I saw True Survivor. So I've got one question and one tiny favor that you may or may not grant. So my question is, can you tell us about the lowest points of your career and also the highest point, for instance, when you ended the Cold War? And a tiny favor, I have an Italian lawyer friend in Milan who worships you even more than I do, and is getting married this summer, and it'd be awesome if you could say, "Hey Alberto, what's up?" maybe afterwards.
Yeah, you got a camera?
Sorry?
Have you got a camera?
Yeah.
Yeah, come on, let's do it. Yeah. So what was the question? What was the question?
Your high, the highs of your career and the lows.
Oh. So what's his name?
Alberto.
Alberto. Yeah, is he getting married?
He's getting married this summer, yeah.
Is he Italian?
He's an Italian lawyer.
Okay.
And he absolutely fucking worships you.
Okay, cool. All right, just roll it. Hey Alberto, hey, it's the Hoff. Hey, come stai? Hey, molto bene. Hey, bella ragazza. Where is the woman? Where is the nice woman? Hey. Hey man, I just want to congratulate you on your wedding and take the day Hoff. I hope you have. Thank you. And the lowest point in my career, I don't know, God. I think when I was in Blackpool. Oh, you have no idea. It was a horrible hotel, and it was the only hotel. I hope they don't hear this because they gave us a rate. We get a lot of rates on Twitter. That was pretty tough. It was pretty tough. This last year has been really tough for me because it's been 6 or 7 months with an infection in my knee. So I couldn't walk, and I was on a crutch, and it really affected me mentally. I had to really kind of turn things around and really get things positive. When Knight Rider was canceled, that was pretty low because we had really good ratings. And I even brought the show back, and when we brought the show back, we did extremely well with a 2-hour movie of the week. And the highest point of my career, I don't think's happened yet. I really don't. Right now, all these cool things are happening. We sold the show in America. People love this show in America. We're on AXS TV. And we sold the show here to them already. So we've already got a buyer for the musical. So it hasn't happened yet. And there's going to be a big surge when this Baywatch movie comes out, and also something we're working on that has to do with singing, also something that we're working on that has to do with a talking car, and it's all kind of coming back in the 80s. True Survivor, I love the song, man, it's great, huh? It's a great video. It's crazy. This kid had no money, and he raised all this money. Now he says, do you know Arnold Schwarzenegger? I'm having lunch with him. He was like coming to my house dropping all these names. And Channing Tatum, you know him? He wants to be in the movie. So I'll be in the movie, but I'm going to be in the movie as a car. So I'll be the Hoff 9000. It's really cool. Have you seen the movie? Yeah. It's weirdly cool. It's like not advanced, but it's real. It's got a really cool heart to it. And the guy who made it is one of the coolest kids ever. So the highest point I don't think is there, but singing on the Berlin Wall was just ridiculous. It was just unbelievable. I mean, I was up there. If you watch it closely, you'll see a fire. Somebody was shooting fireworks at me, and one of the rockets came off and landed on my leg. I've been looking for freedom. I had just my leg was on fire, and I put it out, and I didn't even feel it because I was so in the zone, and it was also like 2 below zero. So, yeah, cool, man.
Thank you for your question and special request. If we go to the lady on the front there.
Hello.
Hello.
This is a slightly lighter question, but I think we can all agree that your performance in the SpongeBob SquarePants movie was nothing short of legendary. I was wondering how you became involved in that project and who contacted who and what was the creative process in that.
When that movie came, I love SpongeBob. SpongeBob SquarePants to me is unbelievable. I was really upset that I wasn't in the second movie. But the first movie, they came to me and called my agent, and he went, I don't know. It's something about a sponge. And I said, is a sponge named Bob? And he goes, yeah, how'd you know? And I said, well, it's only the biggest selling toy in the world. It sells more, it makes $1 billion a year in merchandising. It sells more than Mickey Mouse. And so my daughter came in and I said, they offered me a role in SpongeBob SquarePants, just a cameo. And she said, oh my God, Dad, you gotta do it. It'll change your life. And it really did, it changed my life. I have more kids from around the world come up to me and ask me about SpongeBob SquarePants than anything, And I tell them, I saved SpongeBob's life. I mean, it's a way I open up relationships with little kids who are 3.5, 4, because they've seen it and they know me. They think are you David Hasselhoff? Because that's what he says in the show. They think it's like one name, David Hasselhoff. But I love SpongeBob SquarePants. Thanks. It's fun.
But just following on from that, you've done so many cameos. I mean, the one that I always remember is in Dodgeball. Your cameo with the...
Oh, Dodgeball was fun. Ben Stiller called me and I said, only if I can speak German. And he said, you speak German? I said, hell no. I said, what you do is you get me a nice schön Fräulein, a really good looking girl, put her behind the camera, she'll say the line in German and I'll just repeat it. So this girl, actually this is a true story, this girl comes into my motorhome, as they do, and we sat down and she said, can I tell you a story? And I said, yes, I'm teaching you German and you're David Hasselhoff. I said, yes. She goes, I am from East Berlin. I grew up behind the wall. And now I'm teaching you German. I said, it was like an amazing event. And we became really good friends, and she taught me German for Dodgeball. A good movie.
What did you say in German in the film?
I don't remember. I think that you guys are all, I think you're like pigs, or you're playing like swine buckets, pig buckets, and it's kind of a slang term over there. And then I called them losers. You heard that. Losers! Yeah, but I'm not sure. I don't remember what else I did.
Gets the point across. Another question from the audience. We'll go right at the back, on the edge.
As such an accomplished man, you've done musicals, movies, anything, you name it. Is there anything that you still want to do in your career, or has a Hoff done it all?
No, there's lots I want to do, really. I mean, I haven't been over to China yet, and we just found out online that we're making a Chinese car, like the Tesla, an electric car. We found the guy, and he made it like Knight Rider. And if you look online, you can find it. We found it. It's designed, it looks like a super cool 2016 version of the Knight Rider car, and we found the guy, and I'm going to fly over to China probably next month and meet them, because I might get into business with them about manufacturing a Knight Rider car and taking it around the world, talking about the Knight Rider in China, and try to, kind of show that we can all get along, So that's an idea that we have that really is starting to work. Like I said, I'm working. I have a film coming out, and I want this TV series to go, because I love working with my cast, and I'd love to take this cast and put them in Beverly Hills. It's so funny, because I'm a fish out of water over here, and they would be such a fish out of water in Beverly Hills over there. But I'd like to make a really cool Cary Grant movie, like Arsenic and Old Lace. He was my favorite. The only autograph that I ever got was Cary Grant. I went to lunch with him and at Universal Studios, and he was getting away, and I jumped in his limousine with a picture of him and asked him for his autograph, and I got it. It's the only one I ever really totally wanted, because he to me was the consummate actor. And I got to work at the Manchester Theatre 2 years ago, and that's where he started. He started as Archibald Leach and Manchester as a doorman calling people to the stage. But I'd like to do something like that, make a nice, cool film, Right now, I'm really more interested in getting Hoff the record. Hope it really takes off in America. If it takes off in America, everything will come my way of, more cool stuff. Right now, I'm kind of doing what's in front of me. What's in front of me right now is I was offered this musical, and it's not exactly what I want to do. I'd rather do Jekyll and Hyde, even though it's crazier and harder and tough and more depth. But I know that this is a nice franchise that will make money no matter where it goes, and and my goal is to work another 20 years and leave a lot of money to my kids, and I'm still in pretty good shape, so I think I got a good 10 years, 15 years left before I start, really running in slow motion.
Thank you for your question. We'll come right down at the front here.
Hi, so David Bowie unfortunately passed away this year, although he'll never die, really. And obviously you're a massive figure from the 80s, so did you ever have a relationship with him, or you ever friends with him, or know him personally, or what are your opinions on him? Also, you're an American, and this year there's the presidential elections, and it's really controversial and interesting this year with Bernie Sanders and Trump. But do you have any opinions on who's going to win? I doubt you'll reveal who you vote for.
It's quite broad there. That's quite a broad switch. The first question was about, did you know David Bowie was the question, and did you have a relationship with him?
David Bowie?
Bowie.
No, yes. Yes. Oh man. Oh God. What was horrible? What happened to him? I heard my girlfriend said, she always says this to me. You know Natalie Cole. I said, yeah. I went to Natalie Cole's funeral. She finds out online or on the television. And Natalie was a good friend of mine, and that was an amazing experience. She was incredible. But I had no idea that he was ill, and I actually walked into Fred Siegel, and they had a big book of David Bowie right in front of me when I found out he died. And I bought the book. Of course, they marked it up from $700 to $2,500, like right then and there, because he passed away, but he had signed it. I met him. Yeah, I met him at a place called the Peninsula, right by the Peninsula Hotel. There was condos, and we stayed there when the earthquake happened. So we all had to move out of our house because my house was destroyed in the earthquake. So I had to stay in Beverly Hills, and my neighbor was David Bowie. So we would meet in the morning, and hi David. So, yeah. I didn't really get a chance to really get to know him, other than I really admired him, because he went out and took so much flack from the press, and so much crap was written about him, and it turns out now that they're all going to call him a genius, because he really was the epitome to me of rock and roll. What didn't come any better than him. He was brilliant. What was the other part of your question?
It was about the US presidential race.
Donald Trump, oh my God. You know, I was talking to Dan Rather. You know Dan Rather? Dan Rather's one of the biggest reporters in America. He was on 60 Minutes, and he has a book out called Rather Unspoken? No, Rather, where's Nick? Rather, I don't know. But the book is called, it's about his life, because he got thrown off CBS, which was really weird because he told everybody that President Bush was missing in action when he was supposed to be in the Federal Reserves. So instead of going into the Army, you go into the reserves in America, but you have to show up like 7 times a month, and that he was MIA, and he wanted to put this article out. And they got so much pressure from the president and whomever that this saint of a guy, unbelievable reporter, was taken off the air. So I got to do an interview with him, and we touched on that. What was the rest of the question then?
I wouldn't really hazard a guess.
What?
I think we'll move on to another question, I think. So one final question,
Oh, sorry.
if that's okay. So yeah, we'll go right there, the hand in the middle there.
During your talk, you mentioned how you lamented that a lot of people nowadays are more concerned about something like Cecil the Lion than they are about, say, what's happening in Syria. How do you feel that people like yourself, who've become extremely well known, have a lot of influence in popular culture, can help engage wider audiences with current affairs more?
You know, they tore down the Berlin Wall, and they actually had only one piece of the Berlin Wall left, and I read about it on Twitter, and they said we would hope David Hasselhoff would come, so I went. And we saved a piece of the wall. They were tearing it down so they could build a hotel on a death strip. The death strip was about twice as big as this hall here, and the wall was here, and when you got over the wall, you could run to the death strip, and then there was another wall, and they shot the people, and they were actually building a freaking hotel there. And we wanted to keep the wall up because the wall gets 800,000 people to 900,000 people a year, and it's a memorial to all the people that died, and it just shows you what we should not do again, you know. And so I went over there, and 10,000 people turned up, and I just started singing "Looking for Freedom" on the street, and it just became an event. I try to. I think the way to bring the world together is through. It's already there. It's right in front of us. It's sport and music. You know, when you go, we have the World Cup of soccer, or we have the World Cup of rugby. Everybody's there. Everybody's getting along. All these countries that fight are suddenly in the same arena, and we all get along. We all have a great bond through entertainment, I think. I mean, Knight Rider and Baywatch is all over the world. I was stopped by the Shah of Iran's wife and said, we watched Baywatch in Iran on satellites. They put them on satellites, and they would pay 25 cents, and they would buzz it into the people's houses so they could watch Baywatch. I read this article where they all had their burqas on, and they pulled their burqas back, and they had blonde hair because they wanted to be like Pamela Anderson. That was years ago, you know? But I mean, seriously, it's the world, entertainment and music, and sport, it seems to be the only time we all forget where we're from and what the problem is, you know? As far as me doing my part, all I can do is not be complacent. All I can be is do what I can and what I'm asked to do. I get a lot of invitations to visit troops, and I do. And the lady who runs Checkpoint Charlie wanted me to go to Kiev and wanted me to sing "Looking for Freedom" in Kiev when they were in there, because she was from Kiev, and I was too dangerous that nobody would let me go. So I do what I can. I don't know. I really don't know what to do. I think we're right now in a situation that is. I don't think anybody knows what to do. To be honest, it's just it's a different world right now. But I think all I can do is treat people on an equal basis, no matter where they're from, and try to help out. And I think on an individual basis, if we all do it individually, then it'll work. But with me, it's. I'd love to go to Iran. I can't. You know, I'd love to go to Iraq. I can't. But if I could, I would.
Thank you very much. That seems like a nice place to end. If you could all please remain seated as the Hoff leaves the chamber. For one last time, thank you very much, David, for coming.
Thank you.